Welcome back to Tampa Home Talk. We've got a couple more guests lined up for this hour. We actually have a great show planned for you guys. We'll have all type of information in this next hour. Very tactical around the homeownership space, the homeownership maintenance space, which Leo loves it when you guys don't have a bunch of deferred maintenance, right? So we'll talk about the roof. Let's connect you with our next guest, which is Mr. Ken Chapman. He is with Roof for Less, and you also have a sidekick joining you this morning, Mr. Sean King. He is a public adjuster with what company?
Araya Public Adjusting.
Well, good morning, gentlemen. How are you today?
Good morning.
We're fabulous. Good morning. Happy Friday and happy Money Talk.
Indeed. Thanks for thanks for being our guest here on Tampa Home Talk. We really appreciate it. So tell us a little bit about your company, Roof for Less. How long have you guys been around? What's your background? What areas do you serve?
So great. Yeah, so thanks for having us. Roofs for Less has been around for a little over 5 years, and my partner and I joined with another partner. My friend has joined the company a few years ago, and so we've been doing roofs for about 5.5 years. I've been in the business for over 10. I started in the cabinets and granite business, and we're here to serve the communities of Hillsborough, Pinellas, Pasco County, but we've even gone out to Orange and Hernando and further areas. It just depends on the situation and the job. My whole reason I started this company is I was seeing some of the neighborhoods that the neighborhood that I lived in. I lived in West Chase. And some of the pricing that my neighbors were paying for roofs was astronomical. And I didn't feel it was right for these companies to come in and be what I call super extra expensive just because of the zip code.
Mm-hmm.
So I started the company 5 years ago and wanted to do what it is, offer roofs for less. And we met Sean a few years ago, and he had some insurance public adjustments that was going on, and we started to assist him in some of his jobs he was working on.
So tell me a little bit about it. So the name of the company is Roof for Less. Does that mean that anything else, is going to be lesser as well? For example, like the quality or some of the materials?
No, we get that asked that all the time, and actually a couple of insurance companies that we work with have asked us to say, can we change the name or file a different name? And I really don't want to. Roofs for Less, like I said, we provide the same quality shingle underlayment. We are 2 code. All of our inspections are 2 code, so it's not like we can get around the system or beat the system, if you want to call it like that. We have to buy the same materials, the same products. I have to pay my guys. In fact, I pay my guys a little bit more for installation because I do want perfection on these jobs. And, some of the times it comes back to bite me, but at the other times, we try to turn a small profit on each job. But the ones that we can help out, we do. Right now I'm actually working on a project for a single mom, and I think we're making like $100 on the job.
Oh my gosh!
But, she really needs a lot of help. She has some wood rot and termite damage on some fascia, and she's got a large hole in her roof right now, and we're just trying to help her out and help the community.
So are you guys? Do you your people that do the roofs? Are they employees? Are they subcontractors?
They are subcontractors, but I do carry insurance. So I have to carry a $2 million insurance policy. And, of course, slip and fall is the most expensive. So insurance is probably the most expensive part about owning a roofing company.
I'm sure.
I mean,
you have people on the roof.
Per employee, yeah. Per employee, you're anywhere from $250 to $400 a week for insurance.
And so what areas do you serve? What are you, all 3 counties, or what areas are you in?
So Pinellas County, Hillsborough County, Pasco County is our main bread and butter. And then, like I said, we've done areas of Hernando County, and we've even gone out to Orange County and Lake County up there. We've done a couple of jobs. We've done a commercial job out there. We don't mind going to Orlando. It just, like I said, it depends on the insurance carrier or the customer and how far the commute is and how big is the job. Is it beneficial for me to drive and do a roof repair that 4 hours away? No.
Right.
But if there's a larger job, we'll service the area.
So Ken, can you give me a little bit more information on like how often someone should be checking the roof or doing any type of maintenance around the roof so they don't end up being that person with the hole in the roof and all the rotten wood?
Absolutely. So what I always suggest for people is if we've ever had a major storm or a storm, to always walk your property and check to see if there's any shingles lifting, which is why I have Sean with me because he's great at that. You know, if there's storm damage to a roof, he can assist you in a claim. But if you've had heavy rain or your roof is aging, the life of a roof in Florida, most roofs up north are 20-year roofs, 25-year roofs. You can't really get 25 years in a Florida roof unless it's a tile roof. If you really want to be an accurate measurement, 10 years is when it starts getting beat down, and 15 years is really when a Florida roof really starts to have EOL, end of life. So,
yeah, and there's a lot of changes around insurance. I'm sure Sean knows a lot about that, where basically...
kind of chime in and talk about roof insurance and what's happening with claims?
Yeah, certainly. Like I said, I'm a public adjuster with Araya Public Adjusting, and I kind of got into the insurance industry through kind of a weird situation. Prior to being a public adjuster, I worked as an OSHA outreach consultant for 12 years and helped people on construction sites remain safe. And, when I found out about public adjusting, which is one of the best kept secrets in the insurance industry, because the insurance companies definitely don't want you to know about us because we represent the homeowner, not the insurance company. We help them get the fair shake. So I learned about that, and I got involved, and I realized how much the fight was. And, my grandfather was a Marine in World War II. My dad was a Marine in Vietnam. So my family comes from a long line of people that want to fight for other people. So it seemed very compassionate for me, very, very hit home, especially when you see a lot of these older couples, that they can't go out and inspect their roof. They can't go out and check their windows and sidings for some sort of an ailment or a disability or something. And when you see when something does happen, an insurance company kicks things back and they say, hey, we're not going to pay for this, or it's under deductible. And, a lot of these people are on fixed incomes. It's legitimate damage, and the insurance company's just giving them a hard time. And they don't tell people about people like us. So
how do you get paid, Sean? Like when you protect the public, how do you get paid for your services?
Okay, so we are paid on a contingency basis. So basically, if I go in and I represent a homeowner and I'm not able to settle their claim, I don't get paid. If I do settle their claim and the homeowner's happy with the outcome, and ultimately the decision lies with the homeowner how far we take the claims process, I get paid a percentage on the settlement of the claim. So it's advantageous for me to, get them paid and to fight for them because I'm out of pocket. I pay for all my estimating, all my testing, all my assessments, the roofers that come out and take a look at the inspections with us. All of that comes out of my pocket. So it's advantageous for me to get a settlement for them. Otherwise, I won't be around too much.
How do you guys differ from, for example, like an attorney that sues insurance companies?
Well, that's an interesting question. I do get that a lot. And what happens is attorneys do play a key role in the insurance industry and in the insurance claim process, especially in Florida lately, where a lot of the laws started changing this summer, and some changed back in 2019. So attorneys do have a key role. But a lot of times an insurance claim is not necessarily need to go to an attorney. Sometimes we're able to negotiate at a settlement. The attorney's fees can tend to be a little bit more expensive, especially now that some of the laws have changed this past summer. So for us to get involved, there's really, I don't want to say no risk, but because there's always a risk in everything, but there's very little out-of-pocket expense for a homeowner when they get a public adjuster involved, such as myself at Araya. And then if legal is needed, then a lot of times we can refer a client to a number of attorneys that we work with around the state of Florida. So that's kind of the difference. It's really, at some point, an attorney does not need to be there, and sometimes they are important to have on the
Okay. Well, when we come back after the break, we'll talk a little bit more about, how do you know if you have damage from the wind? How do we know if insurance would actually replace it for wind damage? And just certain things that you may have damage-wise after there is a storm. This is Tampa Home Talk. I'm going to give out our off-air number in case you'd like information on Ken Chapman or Sean King. We're 813-377-2775. You can just text whatever you're looking for, whether that's roof or a different connection, 813-377-2775. That's a call or text on our off-air number, 813-377-2775. We'll be back right after this break for Tampa Home Talk. Stick around.
Don't go anywhere. Welcome home. We are Tampa Home Talk. You are listening to our exciting, jam-packed second hour with
Yes, it is.
more information than you'll... I think our listeners need to be at their desk at this point with a pen and paper writing down all this information.
Or they can just call or text us and we'll give them what they need later.
But they'll have to write down the phone number.
813-377-2775. Again, call or text 813-377-2775. So we have Mr. Ken Chapman with Roof for Less and Sean King with Oriah Public Adjusting joining us today by phone. And one of the questions I asked you right before we had to take a break is, how do you know if your roof actually has wind damage and if basically it needs to be replaced and how that works with insurance?
Oh, my.
Well, obviously, the obvious answer is if you got water coming in your roof, you got a leak, right? But a lot of people don't understand is that the simplest little flashing can come undone. The tar can erode from the flashing or the underlayment on the roof and cause a minor leak, which obviously turns into a larger leak over time. And with that being said, when you have a storm come through, you might not visually see it. And I don't tell people to jump on their roofs. If they're afraid of heights or don't want to do it, if they have a steep slope on their roof, I advise not to do it and have a roofing professional do it. But if you are the handy person out there and your roof doesn't have such a large pitch, it's always good for at least every 6 months, minimum 6 months, to get up on your roof, take a walk on your roof, and see if you can visually see any shingles lifting up. If you see any tar that seems out of place, or you see a hole in your roof, or you have a chimney and you see that the metal flashing that goes around the roof is loose, any of those things is what causes the damage over time. You end up getting mold and mildew in your roof and your sheathing, and that becomes a problem. That's when it starts becoming a larger problem, because now you have mold growing in your attic, and we don't want that. So they say it's almost like, I call it the dentist checkup, right? You go to your dentist every 6 months at least hopefully you go to your dentist every 6 months for a cleaning. So I advise people every 6 months, if you can, hop up on your roof, look for the lifted shingles, look for the drip edge pulling away from the fascia board, look to see if you have holes in your soffit, look to see if your fascia has termite damage.
Or call the roofer, because that would not be me hopping on the roof, I can tell you that.
Correct. So for those of you that don't want it, we will absolutely come out and check your roof. If our schedule permits, we're fairly busy, but we always appreciate new work. We will absolutely come out to your roof and inspect it for you free of charge and say, yes, you have damage, or no, you're not. And I'll even drag Sean up on the roof with me to take a look. So he's pretty good at that stuff.
Is there a certain amount of damage that actually needs to exist, from a storm before insurance will cover it?
Sean?
Leo?
Well, if I could jump in, since... I mean, dealing with insurance companies is tricky, because you're up against certain companies and their policies on denials and their use of the denial or the partial denial. So that it depends. I mean, generally, when I'm inspecting a roof on an insurance claim, I'm looking for 25% or more in damage, because that means that the whole roof needs to be replaced at that point.
Yeah, and then you kind of get into too, is depends upon the age of the roof. Florida has a matching statute, so if you have a couple shingles that are damaged, there's the possibility that there's brittality in the other shingles based on the age. So if you try to repair it, it could damage the roof more versus replacing it. So the 25% rule is really like the ground base, but there's all sorts of other things involved in it as well. And you know, the difference as a public adjuster is, you know, we can kind of argue that. Contractors can argue it very, very well too. I mean, they know more about putting that stuff together than I ever will. But a lot of times there's, you know, descriptions in the policies and breakdowns and stuff that tell us, you know, what exactly it covers. And it can be kind of a complex thing. And if you really don't know what you're doing, you can really hurt yourself and hurt your insurance claim. That's why you really need a professional contractor, licensed and bonded contractor, knows what they're looking at. And I would recommend a public adjuster, even if it's not me. I think everything will be, you know, hunky-dory once you bring those two people in. If you try to circumvent the system or try to take a shortcut, you're just going to hurt yourself.
So, Ken, other than just obviously replacing a full roof, repairs, that sort of stuff, what other services do you offer at Roof for Less?
We do everything from fascia board replacement, soffit replacement. We redo crickets. You know, we can obviously shingles and underlayment and roofs are obviously our main thing, but it's pretty much anything cutting tail trusses off because you've redone a roof line. We even do I just did a new roof last week. Someone built a barn in the neighborhood and they just needed a quick shingle job, you know, but we don't have to do the whole roof. It can be just the shingle, or it can be just the sheathing, or just the sheathing being the wood that goes on the trusses, or it might just be some underlayment replacement. It might be a tile roof that's cracked, and you might need us up there on the roof to replace a few tiles. Now that I got to tell you, if I were to ever own another business, it would be a tile roof matching company, because that is the most impossible. If you have a tile roof, always save extra tiles, because it is impossible to match tile roofs from 20 years ago. There's one company, I think they're in like the border of Sarasota, Naples area, and that's all they do is they have a graveyard full of tile roof replacements.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Well, yeah. I mean, if you want it to match.
Arm and a leg to match tile.
But I thought, and Leo, this might be a good question for you. I thought when you have those Beryl tile roofs and you're looking to get up there and replace broken ones, sometimes doesn't just walking on it crack more of the tiles?
It depends. I had a trial this week, actually, where I had to testify, and part of it was salvage. They took 15 different tiles from different boneyards, which is the graveyard, to the roof. Couldn't find a match, and it was a thin. It was a type of tile, like, you know how shingles come in different thicknesses for different life. Well, tile does the same thing, and this was a very thin tile. So there was. So we have drone photography from before the experts, and then drone photography from like 3 weeks ago. And it's just amazing how many tiles on that roof in particular were broken by people walking on it. So yeah, tile roofs are not...
So what happens in that particular situation? Are they pointing to the contractor to then replace the whole thing?
Well, this was tricky because on our side of the table, none of our experts walked the roof. So it was all the insurance companies' people walking the roof. Oh. So they're trying to argue it's foot traffic damage, and then our attorney's arguing the fact that, yeah, it's foot traffic damage from your people. So, I'll be curious to see how that trial resolves next week.
Yeah, that'll be very interesting. It doesn't sound like it's going to go well for the insurance company, that's for sure.
Yeah, it depends what the jury decides. It's out of everyone's hands, but these people who... And it's weird being in a trial setting because you have to present in a way that doesn't put the jury to sleep, and then you have to be not too excited about the way you answer, and then wake them up out of a sleep like, "Oh, this looks interesting." So it was interesting, especially when my depositions were 14 hours long.
Wow, it's been an exhausting couple of days for you, it sounds like.
Yes, that's why if I'm a little quieter today than normal, that's why.
So any final, I know we're wrapping up on the bottom of the hour. You guys have anything else you want to add before you break away? Because I know you have another meeting at 9:30.
Yeah, so, I just want to let people know out there, the roof pricing today and the roof pricing last year, obviously there's been an influx of issues with the shingles today, and roof pricing has gone up, and we've been holding our pricing to the best of our ability. So you will see some fluctuations, but the interesting fact is, I'm telling you now, if you're dead set on a color and it's not available, go with the next closest color. That's what I can always tell people right now. Get it while it's in stock.
Well, roofing supplies and prices, we're what, at least 25% higher than it was last year, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah, so we were paying anywhere from $80 to $90 for what we call a square, and now we're paying way over 100, 105, 108, 110. That's just the shingle. So it's 3 bundles to a square in roofing. So a 1 square, and some roofs are 30, 40 squares. So you add that extra $15, that's an extra $700 to my bottom line that I have to, cover.
Yeah.
So what I've been having problems with is the shingle manufacturers shut down during COVID, so they've been playing catch-up, and even the underlayment people. So they're playing catch-up, and you have to get what you can in stock. It might be this week there's only black and gray shingles in stock, and you wanted brown. Hey, if you can take black or gray, take it.
Yeah, we have been, we've heard this across the board from many of the different tradespeople. How long do you think it will take before things are back to normal in terms of availability on items?
Probably anywhere from 6 to 8 months.
Yeah. I think it'll be a while before we resume the normal. Well, Ken Chapman with Roof for Less and Sean King with Oriah Public Adjusters, thanks so much for joining us this morning. We're glad you're here. Yeah, we have to take a quick break, and when we come back after this break, we're going to be joined by Mr. Joel Freeland. Get it out this morning, Katrina, with Ace Handyman Services. So we've been utilizing him quite a bit lately on our properties, and we're excited to have him on as our guest this morning. Stick around. We'll be right back for some awesome information. Back in a moment. And good morning. Welcome home. This is Tampa Home Talk. Thanks for joining us here this morning on Money Talk 1010, Tampa Bay's business address. Thanks for hanging out with us during the break. And we are joined by our next guest this morning, Mr. Joel Freeland. He's with Ace Handyman Services. And we've had the honor and the privilege of utilizing your services on some of our properties that we have recently gotten ready for the market. It wasn't actually Bill's. It was a different guy that we used, but we're honored to have used you guys. And you actually did a great job. Fair price. So I'd love for you to tell the listener all about yourself, how long you've been doing it, what are some of the things you guys do, that sort of stuff.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. I live in the Lutz area. I've been in construction here in the Tampa Bay area for close to 40 years. I've been in construction for 43 years, but in Tampa, 40.
So you know a few things about how a house goes together?
I've been most of my career in the construction has been home building. So I've been directly or a supervisor of over 28,000 homes in the Tampa Bay area. So
what's your background? Did you work for a builder?
I worked for 2 builders, a local builder and the national, one of the largest national builders.
Which ones? Can I ask you?
Yeah, I'll plug them in there. Pulte Homes and Inland Homes.
Okay, so you work for
and
two
also
of the...
Squires Housing, which was part of the family there.
Yeah, I remember them. They actually built a great, top of the line house back in the day. I forget which one they merged with, but I remember them.
Yep. So all aspects of the home building industry, from construction, customer service, sales.
I was going to ask you what part you did for them, but it sounds like all of it.
I've done it all and held an executive position for many years, but I started off in warranty and then became a construction supervisor out in the field and worked my way up, but learned a lot about the industry and construction.
So that's a great question, kind of segueing into what you guys do. So talking about warranty, right? So a lot of the builders outsource, their work after the fact to a warranty company, right? So what are some of the things you're seeing or that you've seen over the years that would trickle into what you do today at Ace Handyman Services, where basically it was something that maybe was past the builder's time for the warranty even, or something that just wasn't covered, or maybe just something that wasn't quite constructed correctly? What are some of the longer term things that you see that bleed in from that?
Well, probably the things that comes up the most, regardless if the builder's warranty was extended or if it's a 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, most of those things that actually happen are maintenance items, and it's not covered from the builder.
What's an example of that so someone would know what you're talking about?
Oh, one of the things that happen most often is we go out and we'll caulk windows after a year or two. Most people think when they hear that painting is going to last 5 to 6 to 7, 8 years, they don't have to worry about it. But the fact of the matter is, especially because of our climate, the caulking gets eaten up by the heat, by the weather, and just on an everyday basis, it can start to deteriorate. And if you don't go out and look at your caulking around the exterior windows about once every year at least, it eventually opens up, and what we find out is we go there and there's water problems inside around the windows.
So how often should somebody recaulk their windows?
You should go out there at least once a year
and check it out. I don't think that's like a normal thing that most people think about, for sure.
They don't, especially if it's a 2-story house.
Yeah, who's going to do that, right?
Right.
Is that something you guys even do?
Yes. That's
Okay.
on a regular basis. We have different packages, but that's part of our maintenance program where most people are not looking for these things, and the time we get called on so many homes, it's too late. It's now more damage and more costly.
So tell me about those pre-built packages. What do you mean by that? What are those?
Well, we're very transparent the way we operate, but we also try to do economical packages where we have a half-day package for 4 hours, we have it for 6 hours, we have it for 8 hours, and what it does is we can say, look, whatever you want on your honey-do list, we can come out and do. If we can't, we're going to tell you we can't. I also, because of my experience with the industry and relationships, I have people that have been with me for 35, 40 years. So if it's something that we don't do, I have a subcontractor that has high quality and that's reliable, but that I vetted, that I can always refer them to. But
so the package is, like, for example, if you saw a half-day package, does that include one guy, or how does that work?
It depends on what you have. It can be one guy, it can be two. Typically, they're one person or craftsman. That's what we call them. They'll come out there, and whatever you have on the list, they're going to take care of. And if they get done sooner, you're only charged for that time.
Okay.
So if it's 4 hours and we get done in 3 hours, that's all you're charged for. If it's 4 hours and you add extra stuff while we're there, we have no problem with that. And it goes 5 hours, that's all you're going to get charged for.
Okay. So being that we were just talking about deferred maintenance, right? And some of those things that people just don't think about. They're busy in their regular job. They know what they do very well, but this kind of stuff is out of their scope. If someone, say, were to hire you for a day, what are some of the things that you think would be the best use of their time, your time together in their house?
Great question. One I would hit is the maintenance items. It's the things that they never get around to, but they think it should happen. Or we will go and we'll walk the house and we have a checklist that we can say, here's the maintenance items if you want us to do this or not. Safety items, smoke alarm batteries. One of the biggest things that constantly happens is leaks from the air conditioner, where they are fixed in the drywall on a regular basis because nobody's ever cleaned out their primary line, which an air conditioning company can do. But the main cause is they haven't changed their filter in 2, 3, 4 months. And some of these filters now are on high ceilings where people can't get to it.
Yeah.
And so that's something that we automatically look at during our maintenance program is, hey, do you want us to change your air conditioning filters?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, especially if they're higher up and people are not doing it. It would make sense that you would, add that to your regular list of stuff. So, yeah, so what else? What other kind of like deferred maintenance things are you seeing when you guys go into a property?
So besides the caulking around the windows, caulking inside the house, around the splashes, around the bathtubs, all those areas that are accessible to water. That's what you're trying to do. And people sometimes are mistaken that inside you don't have to caulk if it's not discolored, and that's just not true, because the grout eventually has little voids, and the best time to go in there now is to do it before it starts to become a bigger void.
How do you tell when the caulk is actually breaking down and you should do something about it?
Well, the best way is the visual. You'll see it. You'll start to see little hairline cracks, and people don't worry about those hairline cracks, but as moisture gets into it, that's what create a bigger crack.
So if someone if they got one of your packages, they probably wouldn't use it for like a fence install or like a full bathroom remodel, or do you have that?
Oh, they do, yeah. You can use it. That's the luxury of us. You can use that 4 hour, 6 hour, 8 hour hack with however you want, as long as it's a skill we do. And when we're there, if it's one of our skills for one of our other craftsmen, we'll let you know that. We'll get that person out there. Or if it's something we don't do, we'll refer it to you. But yes, we'll go out, and if let's say replacing a couple sections of fence they need us to do, that might take 4 hours. That's what we come out to do. The 4 hours, the 8 hour, 6 hour packages are all what the customer wants us to do.
Are your people, are they general contractors, or they're staying within the scope of, what a handyman can do, not being a GC?
So We stay within the rules, period. That's
Okay.
I'm black and white. I am a state licensed contractor for over 30 years.
Okay.
So I can do pretty much everything. But when it comes to things like roofing, we don't get on the roof.
Right.
I have a license.
Plumbing,
That's
electrical,
right.
those
we
major
use
things.
those people and I have those relationships.
Sure, that makes sense. Can you give me an idea what the packages go for?
Yes.
Like if someone wanted you for a full day, let's say they've got this never-ending honey-do list that just never happens, and like that's a pretty regular fight in my house. But like if you have this regular honey-do list and it's just like this procrastination's been snowballed, and they said that's it, I'm just going to hire you for a full day to get all this stuff done that has been driving me crazy, right? What would that be? What would the cost be for an 8-hour day? You said 8, right?
So we're very transparent. It's $110 an hour.
Okay.
And there's a $70 trip charge.
Okay.
And it's a 1 hour minimum. So if we come out, that's it. It's $180 for the first hour. Then after that, it's $110 an hour, and this is for residential, $110 an hour. And if we go 2.5 hours or 2 hours and 15 minutes, after that first hour, you're only charging 15-minute increments.
Okay. Are you finding that you can knock out a lot of this stuff in the first hour?
Absolutely. So I have a team of craftsmen that are my employees. I'm licensed, bonded, insured at all times. And when they come out here, they're experienced. Plus, there are times they come out to the job, they see what they need, they have to go to the store to get the items. They are very experienced in shopping, know where to go get it, and that time is important because the customer's paying for that time.
Right.
So anything we do is plus the materials.
Okay. So tell me a little bit of what sets you guys apart from like other handymans or other handyman services, which you guys are hard to find, by the way.
I will say what sets us apart is my people. It's my team. It's my office manager. It's my craftsmen. It's my contractors that are part of my family for 15, 20 years. I mean my business family, not relatives.
Right.
Is I only keep the best and I only work with the best, and I'm trying to enrich their lives. And the way to enrich their lives, if they do good work and get the feedback from the customer, therefore my customers are going to have positive experiences. I really wanted, and believe I have made an impact on changing the industry, because we go to customers every single day that had a bad experience, that the contractor said they were going to come out for 3-4 weeks. They haven't shown up. We do not collect until the job is done. I can't tell you how many people I go to, especially the elderly, that have paid for the job up front and the job's not done or was done so poorly. So I take great pride in the reason I'm doing this is, yes, I'm in it for a profit, but it's a reasonable profit.
And you have to do a good job.
I have to do a good job, and we've had over a 60% repeat business rate, which is pretty strong.
There's nothing worse than like us recommending someone and then the customer complains or they're unhappy. Like that part's really hard for us. And we end up having to terminate relationships sometimes if people don't care enough about the customer to fix whatever they had a complaint about. Like we would be, a little bit irritated by that for sure. So, I know you guys are a franchise business. I think I asked you this, and you're local right here in the Land O'Lakes area. How many of these franchises are around the area?
So what's amazing is we're part of the Ace Hardware family now.
I was going to ask you that too, because it's the same logo-ish.
Yes. A husband and wife started this handyman business out of Colorado 24 years ago because they were so frustrated in getting work done on their house. And this is years ago when the industry supposedly was good. And
well, it's better than it is now, for sure.
And so they started this, and then 3 people started the business, a husband, a wife, and a partner, and they grew it. And they started franchising and started winning awards on great customer service, because that's how they started it. And to become a franchise owner, you have to go through a certain thing with them to make sure they're going to let you buy a franchise.
Yeah, I would love to talk to you a little bit more about that. Like, what are the qualifications and certifications that they look for someone to own a franchise and what that looks like. So this is Tampa Home Talk. We definitely hear the music, and we are going to roll to a break. Our off-air number, in case you would like to get a hold of Ace Handyman Services and actually knock out some of those items on your honey-do list, it's 813-377-2775. Just call or text Handyman to 813-377-2775, and we'll get you connected with Joel and his team. This is Tampa Home Talk. We will be back right after this break. Stick around. We'll talk more about Ace Handyman Services.
Welcome home. Leo Kane here with Beryl Engineering and Inspection, bringing you hot off the press an open house we're having this weekend. That will be 13307 North Oregon Avenue. Again, 13307 North Oregon Avenue is a new listing we have just going up on the market today, listing for $300,000. You might have heard earlier this segment about we actually had the homeowner on talking about his own house. And
That was
how
pretty
he's
cool, wasn't it?
been there forever.
And everything's new.
And he took care of it, and he did all these upgrades. Definitely check out the open house. Pat George will be there. He will be eating cookies.
You know what would be good for that house would be perfect for a couple or a single lady, because it's just a great community.
We didn't say that. That was Pat George.
All the single ladies, what?
I mean, just a single lady. It's a nice neighborhood, close to Fletcher, where you can get out on Del Mabry.
Close to Pat George? I don't know. Where is he going with this?
I don't know. Pretty random.
I'm trying to sell your home here.
Thank you. It's going to sell itself. It is beautiful. Like, it's got this cutest little teal door when you come up to it. I mean, it's got so much curb appeal. So pretty.
It's got a great garage. Look at the driveway on this thing. I can't wait to show people the driveway.
I know he's got a couple RVs parked in it. He has had it in there. So it's been pretty good in terms of having the space to, park whatever you need to
So
put
we
on
will
there.
see you there tomorrow morning. What time? 9 to 12? 12
Open
to 4?
house time is 10 to 2.
10 to 2. We will see you there from 10 to 2 at 13307 North Oregon Ave.
Yes. And,
307.
yes, Oregon. And call or text our off-air number. We'll get you all the information in the directions if you need it. 813-377-2775.
2775.
That's it. Yep, 813-377-2775.
75.
Yep.
Got to always pause between the first two and the last two in that series of 4.
Just in case for people, just like Leo.
So they can write it down.
All right, so Mr. Joel, we were talking about Ace Handyman Services, started out of Colorado. How long has the franchise been in operations again?
Almost 25 years.
So about 25 years. And so how long have you been a franchise owner here?
I bought the first franchise in this area a year and a half ago.
Okay. So what are some of the qualifications that they look for in order for you guys to even buy into the franchise?
Well, first and foremost, they want to make sure you're going to be reliable, that you're going to follow the contract and taking care of the customers. Financially, you're responsible, so they check into all those things. And you go through a few different interviews before they just say, okay, you can have a franchise. It's not that easy. In the past, and a year and a half ago, Ace Hardware came and liked how we were taking care of the customers. They saw the national recognition of this husband and wife that put this together, and Ace wanted to make sure that as they go forward with their hardware stores, they've been around for over 100 years.
I know, they're still around too.
They're still around, and it's a tradition with them about helping customers. So you see that on their commercials. They want to be helpful, and so they wanted to complement and offer the services, and so they wound up buying the whole company, and now we're a sister company of Ace Hardware.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Can I ask you what it costs to buy into the franchise, or does it depend on the area?
No, it's the same price, but honestly, I bought it. It's going on now about almost 2 years. I don't want to say because I don't know how
So
much
it might
it's,
be more now.
Yeah.
Got it.
In this year, they will have sold 100 franchises since the Ace name came aboard.
Wow. How many are in this area here?
I have this one. There's one in St. Pete that just opened up, and there's 3 or 4 in the Orlando area, and then some up in North Florida.
Okay. Now, we've talked a lot about a lot of the work that you guys do and some of the different things like that. Is there any type of a guarantee on the work that you do?
Yeah, everything we do has a minimum of a 1-year warranty. And labor and materials, and that's when we supply materials. If the customer wants to supply their own materials, they're allowed to, but then we just don't warranty the materials. And people refuse. We do a honey-do list. When you think about what's a honey-do list, it's what your...
All the little things that irritate you when you walk through your house, you never get around to. That's the honey-do list.
And that's what we do on a regular basis, but also full exterior painting, interior painting, big drywall repairs, small drywall repairs. We do commercial properties, so we do a lot. It's just not just a handyman service.
Yeah. So one of the cool things about you guys is you actually have a sell your home checklist, right?
Correct.
So tell me about that. What kind of things are on the Sell Your Home checklist? I think that's so cool, by the way.
It goes back to safety things, maintenance items. As we're walking the house, our craftsmen will look and they'll go to the routine things that people are not maintaining.
And the home inspector's going to flag, right? Like the smoke detectors not having the battery changed, being working, that kind of stuff.
And that's part of our little checklist is what the home inspectors look for. So we do a lot of realtors work before they're getting ready to list it. After they listed it, after they sold it. I mean, we deal with home inspections all the time, and what about us is we'll respond within 1 to 2 to 3 days, and we say we're going to be there, we're going to be there.
And I already know the answer, but let's just ask this because a lot of times we'll get a home inspection from somebody like Leo or like whoever the buyer's agent or the buyers has used for the home inspection, and they'll come with a detailed list with photos and that sort of stuff. And we can typically send that to you guys, right, to get an estimate on roughly what that cost is going to be to make that repair?
Absolutely. When we get those photos, because time's a big factor, especially in the real estate market, is we can give you a general idea. Is that going to be a 2-hour package, a 4-hour package? We can tell you that.
So that's what when you guys quote us a price, that's what you're giving us as a package.
Correct.
Okay.
But for a large job, like full painting, exterior, interior, we will give you a set quote, a set price.
And then the person that is getting they still buy their own paint, right? And that sort of stuff?
We always recommend for us to buy the materials. We don't have to, because I'm going to tell you, people buying materials right now, you're not going to be able to always get it because it's on a strict supply thing, and we get a better price. So the money you might be saving for you by the own price, you're going to find out you're going back and forth to the stores over and over again.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for someone being organized and knowing what they're going to need and making one trip and coming back.
Absolutely.
And you guys might even be able to tell that sometimes by the photos on the inspection report, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Do you ever show up with that stuff, or you always check it out first?
If it's a full painting job, we show up with the stuff. If it's, can you come over, I want to do these certain little things for my half-day package, we come look at it first so we can go buy exactly what they need. We do not buy extra stuff and just keep it.
Do you find sometimes someone's already bought another home, maybe they're getting this one ready, and they say, hey, can you come to my new house and make some little repairs or things we need to do?
It is on a regular basis. We are taking care of when they're buying and when they're selling. That happens with us all the time.
Yeah. Are most of your clients like real estate agents that recommend?
It's both. It's realtors and then just customers calling because of the ACE name or because they see our signs on their trucks. And like I said, we have a lot of repeat business. And once we go there and earn their business, we pretty much keep it.
So hard to find good people. I can tell you that for a fact, because we have oftentimes needed to get stuff done. And it's really hard to find a person that can do a lot of some of those little things on the list. So that's really, really helpful. Joel, it's been an honor and a privilege to have you this morning. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
And we're here at Tampa Home Talk. This is our final to do for the morning, 813-377-2775. That's our off-air number, 813-377-2775 if you'd like to get some assistance or you want us to help prep your home for sale. We're pretty good at that. So give us a call or a text. We'll be happy to assist you. Don't forget, we will be losing an hour starting next week. So we will see you next week at 9 a.m. You can tune in on moneytalk1010.com so you can listen live. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great weekend.